I'm Persaud here. I'm with my good friend Sunny Batra, and we're actually really excited to show you an inside of this great opportunity that we're going to be presenting to you in the next little while. I'm here with Kash Pashootan from Emblem Developments and Jenny Bui, the VP of Sales at Melbourne. And we are here talking about the Artform development. The reason why we are really stoked about this project, it's going to be the first in a long line of developments that are becoming it here in Ontario and Dundas area. Cooksville is going to be cooking. We are really excited to go through the development, talk a little bit about the master plan, most importantly, talk about why this is going to be a knock your socks off opportunity. So Sunny, I know that you're really excited to talk to Kash as well. I know, what are the things that our investors want to know?
Tell us a little bit about Emblem and the projects, real estate developments you have lined up.
Sure. So Emblem is the private equity arm of the investment management business I founded. Our firm has been managing assets for wealthy families for a 20-year period now, and Emblem is really the way that we're able to invest in a growth asset class that's not related to the stock market. So we are big believers in real estate as a investment over the long term, and Emblem is how we're able to allocate capital to another asset class. And so Emblem has the financial backing of First Avenue, which manages about $1 billion in liquid assets. And so we are in turn one of the best capitalized developers in Toronto.
Excellent. So a lot of developers, they take a little bit of a different approach when financing developments. Tell us a little bit about how you are going to be putting together this deal over here to make investors feel really great about what you guys are going to be doing first phase of developments.
You know, we're fortunate because we have the power of the investment management division behind us, and that financial backing has afforded us several advantages and opportunities. The first one is when you look at the team that's at Emblem, there's significant depth in terms of our development team, our construction team, and really the overall team and leadership that exists at Emblem. And to be able to attract that kind of talent, experienced real estate professionals in the development space in Toronto, to be able to attract those type of experienced individuals over the years, you have to have that financial strength, you have to have that capability, you have to have that sort of depth. And so that financial backing has done several great things for Emblem. One is being able to build out really a superstar team of individuals that were at other development firms and have a lot of experience. But also, it's very important when it comes to a project, right? So whether when we're acquiring a site or doing an actual development, we have the financial means to not use any financing, and that's very important, and that gives us advantages and opportunities that we wouldn't otherwise have. So obviously, with interest rates as low as they are, we will use leverage where it makes sense, but it's important for clients to know that we have the capability of self-financing projects that we do.
Yeah, and I find that's really rare in the development industry. It actually gives us a lot of confidence in what you guys are going to be doing. Sonny, I know you're really excited about Cooksville and what's happening there.
So there's so much happening in Cooksville. Why investors should get into the Cooksville neighborhood today?
Look, I think, so for us, we're professional investors, right? And that's my DNA, that's my background. We've spent the last 20 years managing risk and looking for opportunities in investments that we've made. And when we look at what we do on the Emblem side of the business, it's no different when we're looking at locations. And so the key to an investment is the timing, right? And so with real estate, it's no different. And from a timing perspective, you don't want to be too early into a site or into a neighborhood, because then you're speculating in terms of when other developments will take place. And the other extreme is that if you are developing or investing in an area that's very well established, then arguably you will not have the same appreciation potential because that's already taken place. For us, when we look at the Cooksville area, when we look at Mississauga, but especially Cooksville, we see that being the perfect balance between these two extremes. Mississauga and Cooksville especially, and where Artform is going to be situated, it's important to note that it's right in the middle of a master planned community. So the city has already laid out plans of what is going to take place there above and beyond what we're doing at Artform and the building that we're developing. So homeowners, investors can have the assurance that they're investing into a building that's going to be surrounded by other developments, not because Emblem said so, but because the city has stated that in their master plan community. The second part of this location that's very compelling is how close it is to a major transportation hub. And so within 500 or 600 meters away, you have the Cooksville Mobility Hub. And so when you walk out of your building at Artform, within a very short walk, you are at the Mobility Hub, which the city has stated they are investing over $100 million into transit infrastructure there. So this is not your typical bus station, right? You have LRT, you have the GO, you have BRT, all coming out of that one major artery, and that will be 500 meters away from the Artform building. So from an investment perspective, we know history shows us that projects that are close to major transportation hubs do very well. We know that history shows us that projects that are in the middle of master planned communities do very well, and the Artform project brings both of those to the table.
Excellent. And Jenny, I know you have a lot of experience doing developments really close, walking distance away from transit
Yeah.
hubs. I mean, what kind of returns do people see compared to the other buildings that are not so close to it?
We did our number, it's all about number at the end of the day, compared to Artform versus other, neighborhood, for instance, downtown Toronto, because we're so close to downtown Toronto, and we want that for the convenience of people working downtown to be able to take a GO train to Union Station in 30 minutes, or even drive downtown because of the lakeshore and the convenience of it. Its return on rental is about 6% versus Toronto at 1%.
Yeah.
So that's Artform and us. And if you look at Square One condo, even Westport, it wasn't $1,000 per square foot 3 years ago or 4 years ago. It was like $700 per square foot, and today look at how much growth it has, increased.
1100.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we see Artform as this, huge growth in the future. It's a great opportunity here because what we're creating is a building. Kash is going to elaborate more in detail of the exterior of the building and the finishes. We haven't compromised anything in terms of the luxury, the feel, the finishes of what we have.
Yeah.
This building, if you look at it from the design of the floor plan all the way to the amenity, everything is so efficient and everything is well thought. And I think that what we're doing is we try to cater and tailor to what people want and what people need.
Yeah.
Like even a price point, 80% of our units are going to be 600,000 or under. And I think that's a really sweet price point.
Yeah.
And then the deposit structure, which will, it's going to be 5% per year.
Yeah.
So that will leave people a lot of room to sort of, save if they wanted to move in later with paying less in terms of mortgage, or even, rental opportunity for investor, because University of Toronto is so close.
Yeah, UTM's right there.
Yeah, and between University of Toronto and Santa Clara College, you're looking at 20,000 students.
Yeah.
But they only have probably, we actually call University of Toronto Mississauga. They have about 1,500 beds.
Yeah.
So that's a great opportunity for any investor, as well as, people who's going to retire and they want some sort of income or build wealth, for later on. So going to the building itself, we actually located literally 300 meters away from the center of Dundas and here in Ontario, the corridor.
And the other thing I'll just mention that's important is there's a lot of excitement around Cooksville because of what developments will be taking place there. I could speak for what we're doing at Emblem, which is Artform will not be the only building we do, right? We have made a major investment in this area, and we will be pioneering this change that's taking place. So we will be coming to market with over 800 units between the two Artform 1 and Artform 2, in addition to other projects that we have in that area. So buyers can take confidence in the fact that you have a very well capitalized developer that's made the commitment that they're going to build multiple buildings in that area. So that appreciation that you would generally see could actually be accelerated considerably because of the fact that we will be doing multiple buildings, as opposed to historically what you see where one building takes place and then a few years later maybe another building, another developer. So the fact that we as one developer will be doing multiple buildings with lots of personality, with lots of character, with that boutique feel, will really accelerate the establishment of that community in its new form.
Yeah, it's one thing that our research always shows, master plan communities, they always go up faster than standalone buildings because you have to increase your pricing for the next buildings that come up.
Yeah.
So when investors looking in the areas already established and they see that, John bought his unit from day one from Sunny and I, they bought it at this price and they go into your sales center a couple years later, it might be substantially higher.
That's
And when
right.
you combine it with walking distance to transit and everything else with the appreciation rates that we've seen, we're really excited to actually see what you guys come up with. Because Son and I were looking at your finishes that you're coming up with, it's not what you see in Mississauga City Center area at all. These are actually really great, really quality finishes. Could you tell us a little bit more on
Sure.
how you came up
Yeah.
with the design of the building?
Absolutely. So just on the point of finishes, I'll say there's no project in Mississauga that rivals the finishes and the product that we're putting forth. And I think that's very important because in a world where there is a lot of development, especially in Mississauga, we know there's going to be a lot of development, and that's great. But if you're investing in one unit, you don't want your one unit and the building that you're in to look like thousands of other units that are around you. For resale, for rent, it's difficult to demand any sort of premium if you look like everything else around you.
Mm-hmm.
And so with Artform and any project that Emblem does, we start with an obsession around design. So Emblem is obsessed with design, and when you look at the Artform building, you see that that's present in every facet of the building. So if we start with the outside, the exterior of the building, first off, I'll tell you, when we acquired this site, it was slated to be a 26-story building. And we looked at Cooksville, we worked with the city, and we thought about, really we considered what we're going to do in that area over the next 5 to 10 years. And we made the decision that we could actually achieve a greater sense of community in this area by having a mid-rise feel to the building. So when you look at it, it's 17 stories, and it has very much a boutique building feel. And why that's important is history has also shown us that the boutique buildings compared to the high-rises tend to trade at higher prices, whether it's rent or the end price. And so that's really what we started with, is creating a boutique building that has a lot of charm. We're biased, but we've had a lot of positive feedback from potential buyers and real estate professionals. The building is very handsome, right? There's no corners that have been cut. It just feels right. I'm not sure why it feels right, but it feels right. So on the exterior, there's a few elements that really contribute to that timeless look and feel of the building. First of all, we've used natural materials that are very luxurious and withstand the test of time. Every unit will have a balcony. You look at the building, it's striking how large the windows are. Right away you could see that there's been an investment from us made in making sure that all units have large windows, which again is very important in condominium living because the amount of natural light that's coming in really contributes to your quality of life, to how you feel when you're living in that space. So starting from the outside, there's a very clear tone set by Emblem that there's an obsession with design, and then that carries forth throughout the building as well. So U31 has done many of the notable buildings downtown Toronto, and we work very closely with them as the main interior designer on this project. You look at the kitchens, for example, something as simple as the backsplash, right? We know kitchens, whether you cook or you don't cook, a beautiful kitchen is always appreciated. The backsplash in every unit in Artform will be full slab.
Full slab.
Full slab.
So it's something we get to see in Yorkville.
That's
so
right.
it's more like a Yorkville type finishes, very
Absolutely.
high end.
Absolutely. And again, keep in mind with all of the development that's going on in Mississauga and the surrounding areas, it's very important for investors to seek a unit, a building that creates distinction somehow, right? And that obsession with design achieves that in all facets of the building. So full slab in all backsplashes, and that slab matches the countertop. So when you look at the kitchen, you see a completely seamless, very European design, which again is synonymous with a much higher price point. And that goes on throughout the unit. I mean, when I talk about our obsession with design, it really is an obsession. You know, when we pick the flooring for the units, right, there's a light option and a dark option. We take the samples, we sit them in sunlight, and we let them oxidize. Because we want to understand that if you buy a unit in an Emblem building, what will that flooring change color to after it hits sun? You know, Benjamin Moore has over 200 white paints. We spend a lot of time, I can tell you which white paint we use, it's called Chantilly lace, but again, the point is we obsess with the color of white, you know, that goes in the walls. Why? Because when daylight hits it, or when your pot lights hit it, does it feel a little bit blue? Does it feel a little bit beige? Does it feel very white and chalky? Again, these are all elements that go into determining what's your quality of life like when you're in that unit. And from whether you're buying the unit to live in it and enjoy it, or you're buying it as an investor, there will be a premium. The market is very smart. You know, I think many underestimate that today's buyer is more informed and educated than ever, and they will identify a project that's been very well thought out compared to a project that's been rushed to come to market. Buyers know. And so we really took our time with this, and we made sure that we didn't cut any corners, and that attention to detail and that obsession with design is present in all facets of the building.
Yeah, it's something that I really appreciate because we don't just sell pre-construction, we actually sell end product to people. And also, a lot of our clients want us to come in when they're doing their inspections.
Yeah.
And it's actually a big issue that people have, like, it didn't turn out the way that I thought it would. You know, how are you recommending these type of stuff?
Yeah.
And we've stopped doing that. We've only recommended builders that have that level of meticulousness that you have. And what's really exciting is that you're going to be putting this in Mississauga with floor plans that are really great laid out. And I feel just by looking at the floor plans and looking at the finishes, we could actually command higher rents per square foot than a lot of other bigger units that are in the area that people are just like, you know what, it's like a party, it's like a zoo, the building's falling apart.
Yeah.
What you're actually doing is going to hold up, and it will hold up for when Cooksville is developing longer in the future. I mean, was that something that you purposely said that you wanted to establish here by looking at other areas? And
Yeah, you know, it's funny, I'm listening to you talk, and it's a lot of what we say internally at our meetings at Emblem as a team. You know, my background being a numbers and a spreadsheet person, people that know me and are close to me know how much I have a passion for design. And so when you combine the numbers and the spreadsheets with a passion for design, you really end up creating a product that is beautiful and enjoyed by the homeowner, but also works very well from an investment perspective. When you look at any of the floor plans from Emblem, and if you look at any of the floor plans at Artform, you will see there's not an inch of wasted square footage. And that's very important, because if you buy a unit that's 600 square feet, but 85 of that square feet is hallway, it's not really 600 square feet you're buying, right? Because I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody that relaxes in their hallway, right? So you can't use that space as part of your living experience. And with any Emblem product, especially what we've been able to achieve with the floor plate here at Artform, there's no wasted space, and that's very important. And you combine that with the large windows, with the very clean kitchens. These elements individually are very important, but together they create that end feeling, which we all know is the most powerful, and I think the greatest achievement for any developer, which is delivering that feeling of the buyer, the homeowner saying, it feels right. And that's what we're very intentional about when we create a product.
And Kash, I would agree with you. I would like to add something here. I own a 579 square feet unit at 5 condos, and that looks smaller than a 435 square feet unit that I own in downtown at 365 Church. So layout is very, very important here.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And so we spend a lot of time on that. We start with, we believe, there's a few things we believe at Emblem. One of them is that there's no substitute to great design, right? Finishes matter, and you can see there's been a clear commitment to set the standard for all of Mississauga with the finishes that we've chosen and committed to here as a standard. But there's not a substitute to great design, because at the end of the day, if you really like the countertop that you have in your kitchen, after a year it becomes very ordinary. But if you have great designed unit, it never becomes ordinary. You enjoy that day in and day out. And if you have a poorly designed unit, it never becomes ordinary either. It continues to take away from your quality of life and your experience. And so we start with an obsession about design, and then we overlay into that the finishes. And that's what we've achieved with the Artform project.
Excellent. And Jenny, I know in Mississauga, anytime you come out with product that's under $700,000 within 3 or 4 days, it's either gone or you've increased pricing on them massively after other agents get to it. I mean, what was your thinking when you were coming up with the pricing of the floor plate of the units?
Well, we just saw the floor plans, and we understand what the buyer needs and what the buyer wants, especially in that corridor, Dundas and here in Ontario, being, we're gonna have end user, we're gonna have investor, just because University of Toronto, Mississauga is only about 16-minute BRT bus ride away, so there's a huge rental pool there. And being around sort of $600,000, it's really a sweet price point that everybody wants and everybody can afford. It's very affordable. So, and in addition to well laid out design, and we have not compromised anything on our finishes. Like our finishes, like Kash said, it's luxury. I mean, it's something you'll find in multi-million-dollar homes in Yorkville. A one bedroom, we have price starting from the upper 400,000, 1 bedroom plus den, and we have 1 bedroom plus den, 2 bathroom, and then 2 bedroom, 2 bath, and then 2 bedroom plus den plus 2 bath. All of a den are usable. You put an office in there, you can put another bed in there, so it's very flexible. So keeping design in mind, when we know that, like Kash said, you can't live in your hallway because it's wasted space, you're paying maintenance fee for it. So sort of, that's what my thought process is when we design this, because we have a buyer in mind already who we want to be the type of buyer for this building. And then even our deposit structure, we structure it in a way that would help the buyer at 5% per year and then 5% on occupancy. Our occupancy is tentatively 2024.
Do you have any advice for the investors who are looking to buy here?
Look, I think that we've done a lot of that thinking because of our experience in managing risk and looking at opportunities. Like I said, our experience in managing investments for 20 years, we've made this building very conducive to performing as an investment. And a great example of that is that in this building, there are no bachelors, there are no studios, there are no one bedrooms. So as Jenny mentioned, we have a very strong introductory price. And for that price, not only is it an attractive dollar amount, but remember, you're getting a 1 bedroom plus den right out of the gates. And to us, from an investment perspective, the 1 bedroom plus den is the most flexible floor plan. Because whether you're 25 and you're starting your career and you use that den as a home office, or you're a young family, you're expecting your first child, and you use that den as a nursery or a junior bedroom, or you're an empty nester, right? Your kids have grown up, you're downsizing from your Mississauga home, and you're using that den as a home office or maybe a bedroom for when the kids visit. It provides great flexibility. And in terms of investment, you want to be able to appeal to a broad market when you go to resell it. And the 1 bedroom plus den does that, whereas other floor plans can be more restrictive in who ends up buying it. So we focused on that for this building. And I think that's really important. And I think, when I say we've done a lot of the thinking, we've been accommodative and been able to come to market with a very attractive price point, but also with a very attractive deposit schedule, right? So the numbers work, and that's very important. And then equally as important is, what do you get in the numbers, right? Sometimes you're better off paying a little bit more and making an investment that appreciates significantly more. It's no different than investing in the stock market. Sometimes you invest in companies that trade at a higher premium or a higher multiple, but over a 5-year, 10-year period, even though you paid more for that company, it appreciates a lot more. So you can't lose sight of how important quality is, the commitment from the developer to design, to finishes, to the overall execution of the project, and you have that present here as well. So all of that together, we feel creates a very compelling package.
And Jenny, if someone or any of our clients, they want to reserve a unit, what they should do?
Well, call you, Brian and Sunny. Yes, fill out the worksheet, submit the ID, and you are our platinum agent. Yeah, one of our
Thank you
platinum
so
agents, yeah.
much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much. Thank you for
Taking
your
care of our
time.
clients.
Thank you.